Welcome to our morning show, development morning show, bootstrap development morning show. Again, these interactions. Today, we are going to be talking about who should be in your perfect product team or maybe business team when you are starting bootstrapping business. So, from our point of view, it should actually be one or two developers, one product guy slash designer, but product designer. So, not just UI designer, but the general designer, and community manager. That's, I think, the least important, but it's really important. Um, and I really believe this is actually a structure that is also used by companies like Google, Apple for their product teams. And these product teams are actually behaving the same way as indie studios, indie product makers, as us. They are actually little startups in the bigger company. Um, and it's really proven that this combination is like this one of the strongest one. It can go actually up to 6 people, and you are mostly ramping up the developers. Um, and then you divide the product manager and product designer into 2 people. But this is actually it. And so, why do you guys think this structure is so strong in general, and why is it so strong for us?
So regarding, I will start with basically developers because like this is the development topic. So mainly, I think the most interesting part about having two developers in a team is actually that in a weird way the productivity and the thinking about the product can massively improve if you have like two heads basically thinking about the problem. There is going to be some inefficiencies introduced by having like two developers, like communication and stuff like that, but the process they can use to think through problems is basically so much better that I think you can get at least 3 to 4 times like more. I would not say it like speed, but the general like architecture of the product and the future of the product and the quality of the code, which in future you could potentially use
Yeah,
basically.
I would
So I
say
think
like
this, yeah.
like the step from 1 to 2, it's like there's like a huge improvement. You are getting like everything is going to be better, and the overhead is like very very small. And then like step from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, it's getting worse and worse. So
Yeah, actually, this is a really interesting point. And as you said, Marek, in the beginning, like when you should hire your first developer, it's a good question. But for me, it's the same. Like one or two developers, there is a massive improvement, and the same is with the design. And I'm actually, and for me, it's actually hard to be the lone designer in this team, and that's why I'm happy when we work with Jordan, for example, because he's a lot on the design side, and it's the improvement is massive. Like you can have feedback when you are stuck in some problem, someone else can break like the flow you are in and help you improve a lot. It's really a huge improvement. So going from 1 to 2 developers is really, I think, crucial for the like little product team that should build a product that is viable and
yeah,
sustainable.
I think maybe for designers it's even more important because it's like it's creative process. And
Yeah, the only issue is that right now in tech products, in tech companies, the developers are more important. There's like much higher, like bigger bottleneck when the developers are not, when there are not enough developers. Like when I'm designing, I have the design done in 1 week. If we are moving fast, and then you work on it for
yeah,
one
it
month,
doesn't
so
really.
it's more important to ramp up.
Yeah, it doesn't really
Yeah.
make sense to have like two designers in such a small team.
Yeah, but right now I'm in the position where I do product management and product design, which is a lot, but it is possible. But I really believe that when you ramp up the team and you already have 2 or 3 developers, it's great to hire the product designer, and it's even better if you are the product manager who is able to design too, because then you have actually 2 designers, like the 2 designers mindset. Yeah, that's really
Yeah, you
important.
can kind of like split the price in half basically. You get like a product manager and design helper basically in
Yeah,
one row. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And that's the next. Yeah, the next question you wrote is how many developers do you actually need, and what should be their experience?
I think this extremely depends like on what kind of project you're actually doing basically. So but I think we can take like some let's say generic like bootstrapping startup, that is not really about, I would say, like technology, but more about the problem. And instead of that space, and the standard configuration that we, for example, have at Mark is front end and back end. But it's good that both of the, like, if you are doing a small bootstrap company that is using, I would say, like fairly generic technology, it will be good for both developers to kind of understand basically the entire stack. And
Hmm.
it's pretty much possible if you are doing something this simple. But if you like wanted to create some hard tech, like for example AI,
Yeah.
or let's say like mobile apps, or like Android, iOS, and web client and stuff like that, then I think at that point it will be quite challenging to have just two people basically. So that's my
Yeah, but
view.
that just makes sense. I think like there are different kind of startups, products you can start, and the biggest majority is like it's not so tech heavy, and there
Yeah,
you
and
need someone with
maybe it
decent
shouldn't even be
skills.
like, for example, with Welder, we could go the way, with mobile apps, for example, we could have like native iOS app, native Android app, native app for Windows and for Mac OS and everything. And maybe the product maybe could be better, but it would be impossible for us to do like just for two people. We would have to take like a VC
Yeah.
funding, hire 10 developers and, you know, go big, which I think is not the mindset we are trying to promote.
Yeah, I think for us, our experience is what we right now have kind of a lot of hard skills that maybe we don't even like get that we are that good, but we are actually. But in the beginning, it's totally okay, I think, and we started that way to be kind of inexperienced in these hard skills, and in general be more like general problem solvers and be focused on like the holistic point of view of the product, not only on the development and on the technology, but on everything, like we always say. And thus, when we are starting, like don't be afraid of hiring or having or collaborating with people, developer designers that are actually not experts. It can maybe even sometimes help, as we discussed in previous episodes, because they are not going to go into the super deep tech stuff that are not relevant in the beginning of
Mm,
the
I,
project.
I would be
And then
careful
there is
about
the
this
second
when
kind
you
of.
are talking about the developers, because I think this is an important question. I'm not saying like you shouldn't ever hire like inexperienced people who are talented or anything, but this is a question like you should be really careful about who you are hiring when you are like a bootstrap startup where you don't have like the luxury to.
Yeah, but just yeah, for me it was just I'm imagining that I'm 18, 17 years old, and I want to start a new product, and I don't have the budget to start with
Yeah,
like hiring someone
like
great.
when he
Uh,
started, yeah, and that's totally makes
yeah,
sense. Like,
I can imagine that at 17, I would be looking for if I didn't have you guys like next to me, I would be looking for like real experienced developer and try to get him somehow. And maybe that's not so needed. Maybe you can start with less experienced, passionate fellows that are general problem solvers and go with that.
Yeah. But I
But
think, to be honest, like perfectly, like if you are 17, like no experienced developer is going to look at you basically. So I think this problem would be solved
yeah,
quite
if
fast,
you, if you are
yeah, that's
17,
true.
like you should be, you know, like totally expecting your first business to fail. So you just have to start somewhere
Yeah.
and move and gain experience.
Yeah, it's true. And then I just wanted to finish, and there is the other part. I see that a lot too, when there is the product manager kind of, the visionary, the CEO starting alone, maybe with one tech guy that is generalistic in the tech sense too. They came up with the idea, with the general structure for the project. They did do the presentation. They go to the investors, and then they hire the best people in the field, and this is a different way than we like right now. So yeah. All right. Next question there is actually: do you always need a designer? Um,
Yeah, and this one
and
I
why are
meant like a designer, like really like a UI guy, like basically. I-
yeah,
Is this something
yeah.
you could
I
like hire someone, like not hire someone, just hire a contractor for?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that definitely yes. I think that on the team you need a product designer. and but like product manager slash designer, really maybe more to the manager. I think that if there is no designer, just developer and great product manager, you are totally okay of succeeding, at least for the MVP to getting it off. Then you can hire someone to make it, to polish it. uh, it's important because I see that, for example, our products, like Welder and Crazy Monkey stuff and others, are great and loved by people because there is a huge connection between me as a designer with you as a developers, and we can really find the shortest, easiest way to create those products in the most beautiful way, and that's appealing. Uh, but in the general business sense, I think you can start with templates, you can start with bootstrap structures to make your product work and solve the problem. So yeah, but it's important. Yeah, and then this leads me to the community manager, which I said in the beginning is the least important, but maybe it's even more and more important later, uh, as startups and content like mature. We hired Alex for Welder really soon, really early on, and the impact is huge. If you really get a community manager that is passionate about his work or her work and can focus on building connections on social networks, building the communities, help you with support, help you in the general sense of things, it's a really huge impact. Like, he's driving the most sales we have. He's helping with the general administration of everything we do with sales. Super important person. It helps you to stay connected with the people who uses your product, but it is also the role of product manager. Like, product manager should be in direct contact with users of your product, and ask them all possible questions, but community manager will help you uh, get through the shit and get straight to the most important points.
Do you think it's good to hire the community manager before you have the product? Like, just for example, you've just started. It's the first day of your, like new bootstrap startup. You just gathered the basic core team. Is it good to hire like a community manager like this early on?
Yeah, maybe not. I think that community manager should come into your team. From my point of view, from my experience, I would not hire him because I don't have money. So I would not spend money on that. It's not so important. So I would hire them as soon as the product is released and get at least bit of traction, or is validated that it will make traction in a great way. So if you start your product by validating and you can validate soon that it will make sense and it solves the problem for people after like many calls you will do with your potential customers, then it makes sense to hire a community manager and start building as soon as possible the community, the noise around your product. But without validation, without the product making some sense, it doesn't make sense. But I asked this question on Product Hunt actually, and a lot of people are creating communities and producing content before they start working on the product.
Yeah, maybe that's where my question led. Like.
Maybe if your idea is basically to focus your content on the problem and not on the solution, I think it can also make sense to have like community manager early, because like he's not really community manager for the product but mainly for like the entire problem space basically, and we are searching solution
Yeah.
for that. So this is like, if you have the money it could actually make quite a bit of sense, but like you said, like our problem was that we simply didn't have the cash, so there is like
Yeah,
no
so
option to do
if you
that.
have the
Yeah.
luxury and you could have him, like it's a huge help. But if you don't have the money, it's not something that's going to stop you.
Last question, and it's really important, I think, is how do you actually attract talented people when you don't aim to become a unicorn? And I was talking about this just a moment ago, that you can start without the talented people. But we were really lucky that all of us, pretty much passionate, were together on high school, and we get together and we build ourselves together. But if you don't have that luxury, how do you attract like talented people from the communities around you, from the tech space in your city, or remotely working?
Yeah, I would say like
It's a real
in general, like it's not always the case, but you should go. more for like people who are talented and passionate but inexperienced.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
For
like
me.
there's like, yeah, like if you are building a startup
Yeah,
and you
let's
want
say
to have like a unicorn, you should only hire experienced people. But when you are
yeah,
bootstrapping, this is
exactly.
luxury you don't have, so you have to work with people who are not so experienced. But in a strange way, it can
I,
even be like, better way
yeah,
to do business and to like live in general, because
yeah, and be more, yeah, be happy. Yeah, I'm totally on that, because as you said, when you have when you have a lot of budget, you hire the best people you need to, because you need to go fast and stuff like that. But the people are stars and they are playing alone sometimes, and then there can be like unhappiness and stuff like that. And that's why we also love to do things how we love to do it. And I would love to say the um, uh, example of Alex. Like, we needed a community manager, we needed a sales guy, and we hired someone who has like zero experience. Zero. He didn't know nothing about LinkedIn, about communities, about tech startups. He liked gaming.
yeah, maybe he didn't even have
Uh,
LinkedIn. Like, maybe he did,
yeah,
but he didn't
exactly.
know anything about the platform.
And I asked him about, like, okay, do you want to do this pretty much automated job that we need to like get out of our hands? I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then we talked and talked, and I found that he's really passionate about what we do, and he really likes what we do, and he wants to be part of it. And like from 0 to 100, he goes in 1 2 months, and he's super crucial part of our team. And he was really inexperienced. And I really believe he's experienced on LinkedIn and on community and on sales than most people I've ever met. And in a good sense, because I know salespeople from the corporations with 10 years of experience, but he's like the underdog. He's like the street kid, with the different skill set and great culture that fits our culture. Just all of us can be happy, even in the bad times. And that's what I love on being indie and bootstrap. This could not happen if we were like invested vested
Yeah, I
startup.
would say like you
Yeah,
should
exactly.
really enjoy this like beautiful advantage of having like a bootstrap startup. So you can really build something more than just a like a company which is going to change the world, and make billions of dollars. But you could really build a team of people, like of friends who you really enjoy like working with.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this is it. This man episode show, morning show. That's why we look like babies. Uh, to sum it up, um, who should be in our perfect team? We think from our experience, it should be one, and in a better way, two developers, one product manager, and in a better way, if he is a designer or has some design sense, and a community manager.
But
Uh,
most importantly, it should be people like you enjoy not only working with, but basically like living with, because having a bootstrap startup, it's like it's not just work, it's a way of living.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's it. It's that simple. Thank you guys for watching. Leave us a comment and leave us what do you think. Is your perfect structure, or how do you deal with finding talent? How do you deal with being solo founder or not solo founder? Whatever. We will be more than happy to read through those and subscribe. By the way, yeah, I'm saying this from now on. It works. They say it works. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.